At any time you have an interface with the seraphs, you still hear them crying, holy, holy art thou. Because of the rainbow dimension, a teaching was given to me by the Spirit of God. And the title of that teaching is the rainbow dimension of God. It's yet to be taught. I'm still putting on it. You come to find out that the reason why such cries are released, remember, it is around the throne room that you find the rainbow. And then it was from there that rainbow was taken and given as a covenant, even unto Noah. So you come to find everything around the throne room reflects God, reflects who He is. Just like everything around a man can reflect, you can know a man by the things that surround him. That is why there's that popular saying, show me your friend and I'll tell you who you are. What they're trying to say is that I can easily detect and tell you the things about yourself just by your surrounding environment. In that same also, when you enter the throne room, you can begin to understand God and understand His depth. And then you got to find out that God is actually deep. That is why when you enter the throne room, you see the rainbow around His throne. It's reflecting the different multifaceted dimensions of Himself. That is the reason why at any time they appear before Him, even the elders, they can't but cast their crown. They can't but cast their crown. They can't but cast their crown. Reason being that it seems as though, these were the things that the patriarchs knew. And then knowing this, they sustained a posture so much so. They sustained a posture so much so that it seemed as though as the day went by, their hunger kept intensifying. You see a man remain on a path. Apostle Paul was speaking, he said, this one thing I do. You see a man remain consistently on a path for years. You ask yourself, what is keeping that? The man has understood the rainbow dimensions of God and has understood the depth in man, and then has understood that the more he keeps appearing, those rainbow dimensions of God, which is the deep of God, can stir up his own deep. And then as a result of that, such a person does not joke around at any time he appears before God in Zion. So when it comes to the garden of sense, when it comes to the ambience where the glory can be felt, the glory niche, when it comes around the glory niche, what happens at that point is that he can be able to angulate his heart so much so that he can expose a part of himself that has not seen that glory light, or that has not interfaced with the glory light as it exudes from his throne. The Bible was speaking. The Bible said that he's the one that dwells in inapproachable light. That light exudes from his glory. It exudes from his glory. It comes forth from his glory. It comes forth from his glory. From his glory. God wants us to be people that understand. If the Bible ever stated in the scriptures that anytime, or the Bible stated in the scriptures in a particular place and said that as Jesus prayed, the fashion of his countenance was altered. If the Bible ever stated that, that means it was something that was placed on repeat. There's a law of repetition, there's a law of replication. It's probably not a law that I will begin to enter into. So that is why you hear Apostle Paul say, that one thing I do. That means that anytime he does it, he applies the law of repetition, and in applying the law of repetition, the law of repetition, and it entails and allows for the same intensity with which you engaged previously. In fact, even a higher intensity. That means if it was ever mentioned in the scripture, that means that at any time Jesus Christ engaged the ministry of prayer, what was happening at that point by reason of his engagement of the spirit of the ministry of prayer is that he was being transfigured, he was being changed. He moved from one strata of glory to another strata. The Bible said that we go from glory to glory. So from one strata to another strata, he kept emerging the purest form of a divine man. Meanwhile, that is how every man is supposed to function. At the point where you begin to explore your deep by the depth of God, you become a man that is celestial, that has put on divinity, that has put on immortality. It is such person you become. You become such person. So when you have this understanding and then you engage, at that point, what? When such things becomes part of the working system of your inner membrane,